great to see some familiar faces. I'd just like to start off by giving a little bit of background about myself in case some of you are unfamiliar. I've been a resident of Papamoa for 59 years, excluding 3 years overseas and a couple of years trying out Mount Maunganui and Tauranga, which I didn't like that much, so we came back here to live. From a local government perspective, I actually cut my teeth here in Papamoa in a little community council. In 1986, we used to meet at the play centre, actually literally sitting on little chairs. And for that privilege, I was also a litter warden, so that's where I started. In the 89 reforms, I was fortunate enough to be elected to the new Tauranga District Council, where I became chairman of the committee, the deputy mayor and the mayor. And I was well supported there by a lot of experienced councillors, and so I'm very grateful for that, and the mayors that I were working under at the same time. In 2016, when I retired, I was actually going to go back into small business, which I really love, particularly the trades. But I spoke to the CEO of Papamoa Regional Council and a couple of councillors, and decided, well, I'll see what a regional council is all about. I knew a little bit, obviously, but to be fair, it is a bit of a mystery to the Metro residents across the whole Bay of Plenty. And so there is work to be done there. What I'd like to do really, and the reason why I just explained that is, I think it's really important to have some people on council that do have a very good grounding of what local government is about, how it works, the legislation, the relationships you have to have, and in particular, the money. This afternoon, we went to farewell 5 current Papamoa Regional Councillors. That's a little over a third are retiring. And some will retire, that we just don't know it yet, how that may or may not happen through the ballot box. So there is going to be quite a big change in the governance of the Papamoa Regional Council. And I think it's important to support some of us that have been around the traps a while. Why do I say that? Because it's kind of a game of two halves in the next 3 years. One is going to be sort of business as usual if there is such a thing a local government. And some of the key issues here in Papamoa particularly is transport, and it's been transport ever since I've been on council. And I could go into depth of that, but we don't have the time. But suffice to say, the regional council does have about 3 primary roles in it. First of all, we are and do manage the whole strategic and strategy part of the Bay of Plenty through the Land Transport Management Plan, alongside the New Zealand Transport Agency and our colleagues in the other councils. We are also a partner in Smart Growth, which is sometimes maligned, but I've been around when it wasn't there. I can assure you it does provide value. And our role in that is around natural hazards and major transport planning. And as has been discussed, obviously we are a partner in the provision of the hopper bus service, number of school bus services, etc. And we do have problems there, there's no doubt about it. They've been articulated, particularly in the non-peak areas. I've been communicating with Wayne over there, who has a particular view of it, and that's good to get that response back. And what we do plan to do about it is we've got a contract renewal coming up, because we're kind of stuck in a contract at the moment, which is very old school, and through that we certainly hope to improve the service. The other big issue here in Papamoa is really catchment control. It's slightly different to stormwater. Stormwater is managed by Tauranga City Council, and Papamoa is actually quite well provided for that. It's been tested a few times, but just beyond the streets in the rural area is also a huge risk to the people of Papamoa. And I'm pretty focused on that because I did go through the 2005 floods, and they call it, in a way, climate change, but we used to call it the weather. And that's essentially what it is. And it is changing, and we've got to be prepared for that. It's becoming more intense and more water's falling in a shorter period of time. So our systems and our planning and everything else are up to standard. We've got to keep a strong focus on that. So out here it's called, in a way, the Parton Road, Bell Road catchment. It actually goes all the way through to this end of Tapoki and then swings around to Makatua and the Kaituna River. It's all actually integrated. And when I see proposals for new houses in Bell Road and Tara Road on the other side, the think, gosh, we've got to keep our eyes open about that. They're going through the fast track, and that's their right to do that, and let's just see what that process plays out. But very, very important. I've also been fortunate to be a director of Quayside, which has been spoken about, and we're doing that major development just up the road, which is going to provide a lot of business land and an enormous amount of jobs, and that's more the commercial arm of the Bay of Plenty Regional Council. My question, I just want to touch on rates because you are a rate-based organisation. Bay of Plenty Regional Council is quite different to, let's say, Tauranga City. We have a low asset base, it's actually under $500 million, whereas Tauranga is over $5 billion. We're more operational than we own stuff. So that gives us a lot more flexibility on our rating options, a lot more flexibility, because the more you own, the more you're locked in to set costs. And along with that, and the dividend from Quayside, we can manage our rates. And this current council has given the CEO and the team a very clear message, because we could see this cost of living issue coming through well before it happened. We must keep our rates down to a standard we can still deliver upon. And my personal view is there's no reason why our rates can't be in or around inflation for the next 3 to 5 years if we're in existence. And that's another story. I am in favour of having a full review of local government from its form, its function, its funding. Not just, oh, let's just chop off the regional councils or let's just join these councils. That's not good enough. I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, the system is broken from my experience. And we do need that complete review. But it's got to have one fundamental principle, and that's to make sure that your local voice is heard and you can participate. Because since 1989 onwards, your ability to participate has been diminished. And at the moment, it is on steroids, I can assure you of that.